but there's a couple of things that I do a little bit different that helped me out when I learned this process, and I'm going to pass it along to you. Welcome back to the cockpit of the 210, fellow aviators. My name's Matt Farrell, and I'm the flying salesman. If it's your first time tuning in, I work for an awesome company out of Wichita, Kansas called Aero-Mach. I represent them, and I travel the country in this great airplane calling on their customers, and I take you along with me. Today, we're going to do something kind of interesting. We're going to blast off out of Shreveport downtown, headed to my hometown airport of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. One of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys through how I plan for an IFR flight to an uncontrolled airport. You guys have seen my standard arrival, the star videos that I've done. You've seen my instrument departure videos I've done of the SIDS, and this one is pretty straightforward. It's just to an uncontrolled airport from Shreveport downtown to Pine Bluff, but there's a couple of things that I do a little bit different that helped me out when I learned this process, and I'm going to pass it along to you. When we go to ForeFlight, I establish that course line from here to Pine Bluff. That's the very first thing that I do. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to go over to the Pine Bluff Airport, and I want to find the approach that we're going to use. So the Pine Bluff Airport and their approaches, they have three approaches to the runway, 1836. So they have 2 to 18, one's an ILS, and then the other one is the RNAV to 36. We're going to do the RNAV GPS to 18 today. So I'm going to select that. And one of the things that is really important to me when I file my IFR flight plans is I want the initial approach fix in there and also the final approach fix. So I've got the MOMTE, M-O-M-T-E, and then PAYIT is the intermediate fix with COCAR as being the final approach fix. So I'm going to put all three of those in as part of my flight plan. So go back over here. I'm going to modify this to MOMTE, PAYIT, and COCAR. There we go. Now we got it all in there. Get that out of the way so we can see. So that gives me basically my approach going into Pine Bluff, and that's how I followed this flight plan for this routing. So let's go ahead and get our clearance, and we'll fire off to Pine Bluff. Downtown Ground Centurion 604 November taxiway golf with the numbers looking for IFR to Pine Bluff. Papa Bravo Foxtrot.
Centurion 604 November downtown ground. You're clear to the Pine Bluff Airport is filed. Maintain 2,000. Expect 7,000 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 119.9er. Squawk 2356.
604 November is clear to the Pine Bluff Airport as filed. Climb maintain 2,000. Expect 7,010 minutes. 119.92356 for 604 November.
Centurion 4 November, that's correct. Runway 5, taxi via Golf, November, Echo, and Delta. Cross runway 14 at Echo. And the wind's calm, altimeter 3015.
All right, 4 November is clear to taxi runway 5 via Golf, November, Echo, and Delta. Clear across 14 at Echo for 604 November. So at this point, what we need to do is we need to go to procedure, approach, got the right airport, and for that approach, we're going to go RNAV GPS to 18. And the transition is going to be the MOMTE transition. And we can go ahead and load approach. I'm not going to activate that at this time. So now I got my flight plan in. We're ready to taxi.
Approaching runway 1432. Entered runway 1432.
Good looking group of airplanes out here on the ramp today. Good looking 310 there. Like a Cessna 140, a collection of Cirrus, 172, and a Mooney. All right, we got to go through our pre-takeoff checklist. Downtown Tower, Centurion 604 November is ready to go, runway 5 at Delta.
Centurion 604 November, downtown Tower, turn left heading 030, runway 5, clear for takeoff.
Left 030, clear for takeoff, runway 5 for 604 November.
Entered runway 05, 4,100 feet remaining.
Thank you, Gladys. We're going to line up on the center line. Come to a complete stop. 30 inches of manifold pressure. Let that stabilize.
Tower, Skyhawk 172 Juliet Kilo inbound runway 5.
Red line, red line.
Skyhawk 172 Juliet Kilo down to turn to left base runway 5, the one's variable at 4.
Left base runway 5, and we're going to option disabled to Juliet Kilo.
Roger. And calling downtown ground, I believe it was, say again?
Gears up, flaps coming up. And we're turning left to 030.
Centurion Fort November, contact Shreveport departure.
Fort November's going to departure. Y'all have a great day.
Ready.
Power's coming back. 30 inches manifold, 2,500 RPM.
6048 November, you up?
Go ahead, Fort November.
Yes, sir. Shreveport departure, radar contact, climb maintain 7,000. And what's on course heading for Monty intersection?
042 for 604 November.
84 November, roger, proceed on course.
On course up to 7,000 for 604 November.
We're going to hit direct to activate. Basically there now, and we're going to go up to 7,000. Hit that altitude bug. And set that for 7,000.
Have a safe flight, Matt. Go get them sails. That's what I'm doing. One day you'll let me come with you. Absolutely. This Dan? That's affirmative, sir. Outstanding. I've been thinking about you. We got to do some flying. Let me know.
Okay, so we got 120 knots indicated airspeed, 30 inches of manifold pressure, 2,500 RPMs. Climbing to 7,000 feet. The nice thing about doing your flight plans this way when you're filing IFR, and I started the video by saying that this is me going to an uncontrolled airport, but this really applies to any airport where you know you're going to be shooting in an approach. If you put that initial approach fix in, that tells air traffic control what you intend to do, where you intend to go, and in the event that you lose communications, with that clearance in place, we are basically already cleared for the approach. So if I were to lose communications with ATC during this flight, I would go to Pine Bluff, I would shoot the RNAV GPS to 18, and they would know and understand that every point that I progress to on my way, as long as I'm clicking off those waypoints on my flight plan, they'll know exactly what it is that I'm doing. So it's just a great way to have not only air traffic control, but the pilots and everybody on the same page of what your intentions are en route and once you get to your destination. All right, going through 2,000 feet, I'm going to go ahead and turn the autopilot on and let George fly a little bit. We're going to go heading, vertical speed 500, and turn on GPS steering. This technique was taught to me during one of my sessions at Flight Safety. Once upon a time, Flight Safety did all the training for the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol who operated Cessna 206s, and they had a simulator that was a 210 and a 206 simulator. It had the landing gear and that sort of thing, and when the Border Patrol was in, they just left the gear in the down configuration and had it set up for the 206. But I was fortunate enough early on in my career at Aero-Mach, they paid for me to go to Flight Safety for this airplane a couple of times. Fantastic training. Not many people get to go to Flight Safety for a single engine piston airplane, but man, if you ever get an opportunity to partake of some flight safety training or semi-flight or something like that, the caliber of CFIs that they have and the quality of the equipment and the training you get is really fantastic. So that was taught to me during one of my instrument proficiency check sessions. You could go for a systems course and you could go for an instrument course, and I had opportunity to do both. And during the instrument course, that's when I learned this technique of filing those waypoints in the approach as part of your flight plan. All right, power set, temperatures look good.
Rescue 1400 for 1500. We're northwestbound for
continuing that climb for 7,000 feet. The ASOS at downtown said that the bases were at 5,500, so we'll get up to 7,000 to see where we stand and see if we need to go up another 2,000 to 900,000. I don't want to go much higher than that. It's only about an hour flight, so you kind of get that diminishing return just to go that high.
Endeavor 5469, we just had a bird strike on the windshield. No damage to the aircraft, as we can tell. It's at 3,000 feet, it's about 3 miles behind us.
Roger, 3 miles behind your current tracking, no damage on Alpha, and you're not declaring anything?
Correct, we're not declaring anything, no damage reported, just guts on the window.
Ooh, that's exciting.
5469, clear visual approach from a 14.
So visual only 14 to 5469.
And that's them right there. 5469, a bird strike just right there by the downtown airport. You guys may have noticed me looking outside. There's a lot of birds soaring. I've seen about 4 of them since we departed. That's scary. I've had some close encounters. There's a video of me coming close to a buzzard. Whoa! I took it right underneath the wing, so 6 feet away from the cabin. I took a buzzard under the wing. You can go check that video out and see the surprise on my face. I wish I could have gotten a video of the bird. Unfortunately, you don't get to see that. But it's not very many times you see my face actually react to something in the airplane. Usually I kind of expect what's going on, but that was a shocker to me, watching that bird pass right underneath the wing. So it's a fear that I have. And that one obviously hit the nose of their airplane, and you heard him say he's got guts on the windshield.
Centurion 48 November, contact Fort Worth Center 128.2.
128.2 for 6048 November. Good afternoon, Fort Worth Center, Centurion 6048 November is 5,800, climbing for 7,000.
Centurion 6048 November, Fort Worth Center, Roger. Eldorado altimeter 3017.
3017 for 6048 November.
500 to go to 7,000. I think we're going to be really close to these tops. We'll have to make a decision once we get close to 7,000. If we're going to zigzag through them or just go another 2,000 feet. And I'm going to go ahead and request a climb.
And Fort Worth Center 604 November, I'd like to continue my climb at 900,000.
So 6048 November, climb maintain 900,000.
Up to 900,000 for 6048 November.
That'll help get us up above the tops of these clouds. And it'll be a little cooler up there. We are leveled off in cruise flight at 900,000 feet, 28 inches of manifold pressure, 2,400 RPM. Done my course leaning to about 100 pounds per hour. And we're getting ready to go ahead and do our final leaning. We are 26 minutes from Monty. We'll get everything set up and squared away for cruise, and then we'll start talking about the approach into Pine Bluff.
6048 November, contact Memphis Center 135.87.
135.87 for 6048 November.
So 135.87, transfer that up, get back on my leaning.
Condor 5, contact
multitasking here.
120.07.
At number 3 is the
Condor 5, Memphis.
leans first. And run it back up to about 100 pounds per hour. See where we settle out at.
Memphis Center Centurion 604 November's level 900,000.
Number 6048 November, Memphis Center, Monticello, altimeter 3018.
3018 48 November.
Also in the spirit of what's next, going to go ahead and tune in the ASOS at Pine Bluff.
3 Bravo off, Roger.
Put that in the primary position on my comm. And then get the Unicom frequency in there. If you've flown with me very much, you know that on my number 2 GPS, when I'm in cruise flight on a cross country, I keep that nearest airport page up and running. I've got the course, all the course information and everything I need that's pertinent to cruise flight, either on my primary flight display or my number 1 GPS. So I think it's handy to have that nearest airport dialed in there in the event that I need to get to an airport in a quickly manner. I was in my climb earlier, I had the cameras turned off. You guys are used to seeing the iPad right there on the yoke, and all of a sudden it just broke and fell, just like that. My ram mount broke. I think I have another one at the house that I'll be able to swap that out for, but it was just kind of surprising. It popped and broke, and there it was. Thing's only been around about 10 or 12 years, so I wonder what the warranty is on it. That's a question. That's a question we get at Aero-Mach quite often. I bought this 12 years ago. Is it still under warranty? No, I'm afraid our instruments don't carry a 12-year warranty. 1-year warranty on overhaul, 6 months on repairs.
Memphis, citation 11 Echo Hotel 10,000, climbing 15,000.
November 11 Echo Hotel, Center, climb maintain flight level 230.
Flight level 230, 1 Echo Hotel.
We are 22 minutes from Monty. We're going to go ahead and brief the approach. Our final approach course for this approach is 178 degrees. We're going to the initial approach fix of Monty, and from Monty to Payette is 2,500 feet. And when we do that, we don't have to do the course reversal at Payette, so we'll go straight in. Our minimums for this approach are 469 feet, or correction, 459 feet. So I will set my minimums for 460. 460 for minimums. From there, the missed approach is climb to 2,000, direct re-roy and hold. And re-roy is straight out. All right, so if we're going to be at Monty at 2,500 feet, that means we've got 6,500 feet to lose. 500 feet per minute, that means 13 minutes. So probably around that 15-minute mark, we're going to start down. So we got our weather at Pine Bluff. We're about time to start that descent for Monty intersection. We're going to do that with 10 degrees of flap. So got the airplane slowed down. Going to go ahead and request that descent with Memphis Center when I get a break here.
Descend via the Holbrook 3 landing south, Tunica altimeter 3017.
Memphis Center, Centurion 604 November requesting lower for Monty.
Number 604 November, contact Little Rock approach 135.4, make your request.
135.4 for November. Good afternoon, Little Rock approach, Centurion 604 November's level 9,000, looking for lower.
Centurion 6048 November, Little Rock approach, Adams altimeter 3017, descend and maintain 3,000.
Down to 3,000 for 604 November.
Going to get 10 degrees of flaps in. And we're going to start that descent for Monty.
And number 48 November, you direct Monty, or are you just looking for the visuals for Pine Bluff?
I'm direct Monty for this time for 604 November.
604 November, roger. 48 November, are you looking for the RNAV 18 or the visual?
I'd like the RNAV GPS to 18 for 604 November.
604 November, roger. Cross Monty at or above 3,200, cleared for the RNAV 18 approach, Pine Bluff Airport.
That's cross Monty at or above 3,200, cleared for the RNAV GPS into Pine Bluff. RNAV GPS 18 into Pine Bluff for 604 November.
All right, so Monty at 3,200. Get my altitude bug on 3,200. And after Monty, remember, we can go down to 2,500. So one of the questions I got in the comments recently was, why do I use flaps in cruise or descent? And the reason for the flaps in cruise, I don't use them at altitude in cruise, but I believe the reference was when I was in the terminal area, I had 10 degrees of flaps. So I was treating that situation much like I was in a hold. I referenced at the time there was no reason to have all that speed.
Good afternoon, center pod discretion, maintain 4,000.
And changing the configuration of the airplane up and down, flaps up and down. But I really like the flaps in descent to control my airspeed, especially on a day like today, in and out of these buildups, a few bumps along the way. I don't want to be tickling the yellow arc and encountering those bumps and that turbulence. If you're IMC, you're not getting that rise, you're not getting that, change of feeling when you're IMC. So keep everything similar, keep it the same, and avoid any changes in configuration that can introduce errors in the cockpit. If you have any tips for airplane management, cockpit management, leave a comment down below. I'm always seeking to get better at flying this airplane. That's one reason why I enjoy having you guys along. I enjoy the comments because you ask questions that I may not know the answer to and I have to figure out. And then also it gives me the opportunity to review what I'm doing, and at the same time you can tell me what you're doing and I might pick up some tips along the way. We are 6 minutes from Monty. I'm going to go ahead and monitor the Unicom. All right, 150 feet to go, slowing that descent down. We are 1 minute 30 seconds from our turn. That's going to work out well. Now again, I don't want to make configuration changes. Yes, I can pull the flaps up. I can transition to cruise flight again and go blast it in there, you know, at 160 knots true airspeed. But there's no reason to do that. If you're in a single engine, single pilot IFR, the airplane is flying itself. It's established. I am using the autopilot, so I've got this. Got the assistance of that.
2.8 climbing.
We're making our turn at Monty, and once we get established on that course, we can go down to 2,500.
All right, 2,000, we got the field in sight. Charlie Juliet.
Station 1 Charlie Juliet, clear visual approach, runway 4 left.
Okay, clear visual, runway 4 left, Charlie Juliet.
We are 4 minutes from Payet. Got 700 feet.
Runway 48 November, traffic 12 o'clock, 5 miles, opposite direction, type and altitude unknown.
All right, 48 November's looking for the traffic, thanks.
So we are established to the course to Payet down to 2,500. Looking.
Station 1 Charlie Juliet, contact Adams Tower.
Looking for traffic.
All right, going tower 1870, Charlie Juliet.
Because we are
48
tracking.
November, traffic no longer observed.
48 November, roger.
So at this point, I'm going to hit heading and approach. And that's going to activate my nav and approach. And GPS steering is going to fly me inbound. And that's going to arm my glide slope. Remember, going down to 460 feet, the missed approach is climbing to 2,000 direct reroy and hold. So we're looking for 2,500 on this segment of the approach. And we're 14 miles to the north. Going to go ahead and make our traffic call.
Delta 3040, 2.5, 4,000.
Pop left traffic, Centurion 604, November's 14 to the north on the RNAV GPS to 18 Pine Bluff.
13,000, direct Memphis, Delta 3040.
Leveling at 2,500.
Number 6048 November, report cancellation of IFR in the air. This frequency are on the ground 119.85.
And lower arc approach 604 November, I'll cancel with you now.
Number 6048 November, IFR cancellation received. Squawk VFR, free change approved. Before you go, there's traffic 13 miles northeast of the Pine Bluff Airport, southbound, 600 indicated.
4 November, roger, we'll be looking for that traffic. Thanks for your help. And Squawk VFR, frequency change approved for 4 November.
Thank you, good day.
All right, we're coming up on Payet. He said 13 miles northeast. That's about where we are now. We're north. So I'm guessing that's a crop duster out there spraying. Pine Bluff traffic, Centurion 604, November's 10-mile final, 18 Pine Bluff on the RNAV GPS 18. We need to go to procedure and activate approach. Procedure. Activate vectors to final. Back to my map. On this leg of the approach, we are cleared down to 1,800 feet at COCAR. So I'm going to go ahead and establish that descent to get us down to 1,800. And then we'll intercept the glide slope and fly it in from there. And for radio calls, COCAR is about a 5-mile final. Put a comment down below if you see the mistake that I made with the GPS and the autopilot back there. I left out a crucial step that should have been taken care of in cruise flight that I did not do. So y'all leave a comment down below and tell me if you can spot what I did wrong. There's 1,800 feet, and we are 40 seconds from COCAR. When we get glide slope intercept, we will drop the landing gear. We're allowing the airplane to slow down because we want to be established at approach speed. Looking for about 115 knots as our approach speed. There's glide slope intercept. All right, got a wheel, got a green. Gas, undercarriage, mixture, props, seat belt, shoulder harnesses, cowl flaps closed. Pine Bluff traffic, Centurion 604 November is 4 mile final runway 18, RNAV GPS 18. A little bit below glide slope.
3 mile final runway 18.
Thank you, Gladys. Let that sink rate climb there and get high there. A little bit below glide slope. So I'm slowing my descent, reducing my rate of descent. Add just a touch of power. I don't want to get too slow or too low, but I got to make this correction. There we go. Now we're getting it right back on glide path. Simultaneously making that power change to stay established and stay on airspeed.
500.
We can have a debate another day about pitch for airspeed, power for altitude. That seems to be a hot topic these days. Pine Bluff traffic, 604 November, short, final 18 Pine Bluff.
10 o'clock, 1 mile, 200 feet
There's
above.
minimums. Buzzer don't final. Alright, slowing it down. Adding some flaps.
Pine Bluff Unicom area traffic, Merlin 9900, here in the left downwind for 18. Full stop.
And
Pine
power's out. Over the numbers 80 knots.
Helicopter 712 Romeo Bravo is half a mile east of the center of the field. Be crossing from the east to the west.
Like butter.
Traffic inside.
Didn't even feel the wheels touch, did you? I didn't even feel the wheels touch. But welcome to Pine Bluff. I hope everybody enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed the approach. I hope you enjoyed seeing and how I established my routing for IFR flight plans going to various airports. I hope that helps you out along the way. Leave a comment down below if you do something different or you think I did something wrong. I definitely want to know if y'all can spot and tell me avionics-wise the mistake I made on that approach. So curious if you guys can figure that out. So thanks for coming along. Look forward to seeing you on the next one, guys.